It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Good morning. Let's get right to your top five at 6. We just heard the replacements. I'll Be You, and it's a sad day in the Twin Cities. A stalwart of the musical community for decades, Slim Dunlap, died yesterday. Slim Dunlap was the Replacements' replacement. This is the gentleman in 1987 who joined the Replacements, replacing Bob Stinson after he had been asked to leave the band. Slim Dunlap was around long before those days. He was playing, he's from Plainview, moved to the Twin Cities, and was playing in bands throughout the 70s, into the 80s. When he joined the Replacements, it was sort of for the final lap of that band's initial run, but he was a great musician, a great player. I did not know Slim personally. I know a ton of people who did, and he has left behind a whole lot of not just fans, but great friends and a huge part of the music community that everybody is very much a sad day today. Slim has suffered a stroke in 2012. He's been in very rough shape for a while, but now as he's passed on, it's a chance to, if nothing else, just say, hey, Slim, thanks for everything, man.
Yeah, I got to know the guy a little bit personally over the years. We had a couple of meaningful conversations, and all the better for it. I mean, he's he's in a better place. Suffering's over. Moving on.
That's very true.
Attaboy, Slim.
When he joined the Replacements nationally, because I was not in Minnesota at the time, but I was a huge Replacements fan. I mean, it was like to Replacements fans, it was like, well, how can you replace Bob? Who the hell is this guy? He must be something very special. There was this thought, and I remember going to see the Replacements for the first time with Slim in '88, and was about 9 seconds into the first song, went, okay, we're good here. This is going to be great. My man joined a grease fire of a band and helped steady the ship for the final 2 albums and tours. Good times were had by all, thanks to Slim Dunlap. Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Okay, the day after Christmas, next Thursday at about 2:13, 2:14, 2:15 p.m., if you decide you want to just get up and leave the room, go for it. Do it. Because December 16th, at exactly, apparently 2:13 p.m., that's the moment the average person hits their limit with the family. That's when we lose our minds, because we've had at least 2 days of, here's the list, criticism for being single or for your relationship choices, criticism for how you're handling being an adult.
Right.
There's stress over the meal preparation and cooking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad presents. If I hit on any that have never come up in your family, let me know. Arguments over board games. Oh my God. There could be a Netflix series about Gorman family board game fistfights. Arguments over politics, please. Being hungover. Life in general. Getting yelled at for not helping around the house enough. Babysitting other people's kids, because we all have siblings who decide that, oh, well, everyone's here. I don't have to do my job as a parent anymore. And then, of course, arguments over what to watch on TV. Yeah, that's 10 things. That's what I associate with family Christmas. All those 10 things right there.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year to be estranged from your family.
I tell you what,
Celebrate
man.
it every year. Festivus for the rest of us.
I spent Christmas of 1989 away from family. It's a long story that's not worth going into. But I remember feeling 2 things consecutively, like 2 completely opposing thoughts and feelings and sensibilities. One was, man, I really miss my family. And the other was, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We get it. Anyway, 2:13 p.m., December the 26th. If you feel it starting to build, just get up and leave the room. Go touch grass, get some air. It's going to be okay. It will pass, believe me.
Edibles.
Yeah, edibles.
Or simply, start those on like the 23rd, actually.
Yeah,
give yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead and grease the wheels a little bit before you hit the limit on the 26th. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. Oh, boy, the Chaska License Center giving road tests, and this is just as good as it gets. A driver taking their road test, trying to get that driver's license, had a little accident, mistaking the gas pedal for the brake, struck a vehicle in the parking lot, then struck another vehicle in the parking lot, and then slammed into the building itself, the Chaska License Center. Da-douche.
Beautiful. I'm looking at the traffic here this morning, as I do each and every morning. They're ready. send them right out onto Highway 61. You could send them out to 494 this morning. They would be right at home on 35W, right at 66th Street, where those cars are all piled up right now, yeah.
Sure. If you don't know the difference between your brake and your gas pedal, hey, it's snowing, and like Zeb said, go ahead, go for it. We're not going to notice the difference. We'll blame this is your chance. We will blame the weather. Get out there and have a good time. It's pretty special to think that, of all the things that can go wrong on your driver's test, that you ran into the actual license building. That's pretty great. And this young driver, obviously I'm sure it was a pretty stressful day, kind of fairly traumatizing. Might be a while before he or she decides to go back for another test. But down the road, this story is just going to be a killer holiday gathered around the tree. Remember, right? Like a week before Christmas when you hit the license center. And I mean, this kid's going to hear about it. Then their nephews and nieces will hear about it.
Oh, yeah.
Their own children will hear about it. Yeah. Their grandchildren will hear about it. This is a family staple for decades to come.
Yeah. Well, they'll take it to their grave. This right here, this little piece of audio is the classic comedy movie equivalent of that.
I can't believe I threw up in front of Dean Warmer.
Face it, Kent. You threw up on Dean Warmer.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I can't believe I crashed during my driver's license exam. Face it, Kent. You crashed into the license building. It's incredible. What an amazing moment. I mean, I can remember like stressing over the parallel parking, but I got to say, if I had crashed the car and then especially crashed it into the license center, I probably would have taken a few months before getting back behind the wheel. That's just me at the time.
It wasn't a driving test, but my buddy Tony Dunnick, when we were growing up, it was we were taking driver's education, and our football coach was the driver's ed teacher. I don't feel like that's uncommon. They've got to find something for him to do, right?
Yeah.
So there he is in the passenger seat. I'm in the back seat. Tony pulls out, and we start driving down the road, and we come to a stop sign. He stops, and then I don't know if he meant to punch the accelerator, but he punched the brake when he went to take off, and the football coach's head just bounced off the dash. I'll never forget it. It's one of the great moments in my life, trying to stifle that laugh from the back seat.
Man, well, coaches like to say, watch for late hits. You never know when a hit's going to come in. Just because the play's dead doesn't mean you got to put your guard down. The football coach as driver's test, that's just a classic trope from basically every 80s high school movie we ever saw. He'd still be in those coach's shorts. What were those polyester coach's shorts and in the passenger seat?
There's always a whistle hanging around his neck.
Always, of course. My basketball coach did not teach driver's ed. He taught sex ed in a questionable at best decision from my high school. And I just remember one thing, a classroom with about 12 boys and one girl, poor Laura. And on day one, he said, well, when I was your age, boys, it was all about heavy petting. And the rest of the semester just flew by. I just never forget the look on everyone's faces as we were like, is he actually? Wait, oh my God, he's going to talk about making out with girls in the 50s. Here we go.
That's our football coaches could have taught sex education because we had 2 in a row when I was in high school fired for sleeping with students.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, in fact, my freshman year, the coach ended up retiring and marrying the star of the high school basketball team that won the state tournament, only state title in Woolsey history. And 3 years later, another football coach was fired and then married her sister.
Oh, my God.
In the family, who was also a senior at that time.
Well, those girls certainly were planners. They had a vision board. Make no mistake about that.
Right.
That sounds like a Chuck Klosterman novel, Downtown Owl, although I believe that one was in North Dakota, not South Dakota. But similar themes throughout, for sure. Number 2 on your top 5 at top 5 and 6. I believe, as Zeb said, if you're looking to start a charity in 2025, we've got one for you. Zimbabwe in Africa. Sex workers are dealing with the situation over there, which is a critical shortage of condoms throughout the country. And now sex workers have turned to baby socks to protect themselves. Don't have a condom? How about a baby sock?
What? Are they knit or something? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen a baby sock. That's alarming and probably useless. They've got them in sitting around in big candy bowls at the Olympics. We can't round up a gazillion condoms. I have got a box of them. They might have expired. They're from the 1990s, early 90s. But they're still sitting around in a cabinet somewhere. I'll send them over.
They got to be better than a baby sock. My God.
Baby sock. I mean, there's
I grew up being told about the woman in 1864 in the Civil War. A bullet went through a soldier's scrotum, passed through, hit her in the ovary, and she was impregnated from it. So trust me when I say a baby sock is not going to kill that sperm. That sperm is going to get where it wants to go. That was always the thing. Oh, no. It's true story. True story. Oh. No. She was loose, and she slept around, and we just didn't want to admit it. Can we just admit that now, 200 years later, can we just come clean?
Kudos for the killer story, though.
Oh, it's a great story. I mean, as far as virgin births go, that's the coolest one I know of. Yeah. Hey, Hudson, Wisconsin, good morning. What's happening there, border squabble town?
Let's go. We have border squad. Let's head over after the show. Bloodies and breakfast at Dick's Bar and Grill.
Oh, can't go wrong.
They have a breakfast shot over there. I don't know what's in it, but it will make you cry.
I'm gonna. That sounds like a plan. I'm gonna not volunteer to drive. I will ride.
Fair enough.
I will ride over to Hudson in a few hours. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Hey, number one on your top 5 at 6. This is great news for a guy like me. Apparently, according to a new study, we all begin to search for kind of a sense of meaning. What is the meaning of life? What's it really all about? What's the meaning of my life? By the late 20s, we're all really knee-deep in that, whether we admit it or not, at least subconsciously. And we keep on going until right around 60. Around 60, people figure out the meaning of life. And then that kind of goes downhill after that because you figure it out and then you feel like your life is becoming less meaningful. But there's a moment at 60 where it feels like it's all right there. Finally, all the square holes have the square pegs and the round holes have the round pegs. I'm turning 60 next summer. I'm looking forward to this next 9 months before I can then say, well, that was cool. Screw it now.
Yeah, I'm a year away from 60 myself, and it's going to be it's going to be an arrogant year for me. Back off, man. I'm 60. I've got it figured out. You don't. Back off. The number 42, isn't that the meaning? 40? No, am I the only one? Yeah, Douglas Adams that read Douglas. All right. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, I'm over. We're moving along here. Moving along.
Had a copy for years, never opened it. So you're the second person who's dropped that in lately. I guess there's a sign. I guess before I turn 60, I better read that damn thing.
There's a laugh or two in there.
There's your top 5 and 6. Let's talk about hockey. Let's talk more importantly about hockey tickets and the fact that we're about to give some away. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Hockey. The Wild playing tomorrow night at the XL Energy Center. We got tickets. We want to give them away. 651-989-ROCK. We need one caller right now. 651-989-ROCK. Minnesota Wild versus the Utah Hockey Club at the XL Energy Center. We're going to play a game called Twofer, and we'll be giving those bad boys away, hopefully. So call in right now, 651-989-ROCK. In the meantime, I discovered a word a couple days ago, and I keep meaning to bring it up, and I'm just so excited about it. It's a 19th century word. It's pangwangle. P-A-N-G wangle. Pangwangle.
Yeah.
Pangwangle is one who remains cheerful in spite of minor setbacks. Oh, he's a good little pangwangle, isn't he? And of course, I immediately think of Monty Python, where the guy's going, "Oh, it's just a flesh wound," and it's like, man, that guy is a pangwangle.
Yeah, he is.
You know, someone chops your foot off, and you say it's just a flesh wound. You are pangwangling your ass off.
Right. Hate those people.
I love a good word like that. Oh, you pangwangle. And then I always say I'm going to. Reintroduce words to the lexicon. I'm going to bring back pangwangle. And I forget. I let it go. Hell, we just heard AC/DC, and every time I hear Hell's Bells, I go, I got to start saying that more often. Oh, Hell's Bells. Never happens. I never remember.
My mom was
She was what?
She's a classic rock fan without knowing. Judas Priest. I got that one a lot growing up. Judas Priest, Brian. And then somewhere around 14 or 15, I'm like, that's kind of cool when you say that, Mom. You know, you're only encouraging me. And the other one was Hell's Bells. Mom went with that one. Oh, man,
really?
Hell's Bells, Brian.
That sounds great. I gotta get to work on that. All right, we got a caller ready to play for some hockey tickets. Julie from Prescott, Wisconsin. Julie, good morning.
Good morning.
Julie, give me your favorite band.
John Mellencamp.
All right, give me your favorite team. Any sport.
Green Bay Packers.
Oh,
didn't see that coming.
Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll allow it for a week and a half. All right, here we go. We're going to play a game called Two For. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You answer them quickly, and then we'll see if you can match 2 out of 5 with a Barfly buddy of riders. Are you ready?
Okay.
If you participate in Secret Santa at work, name someone you hope you don't have to buy a gift for. Maybe a
Kristen.
Say that again?
Kristen.
Kristen, okay.
Kristen.
Sure. I wonder if the Barfly said Kristen.
I was thinking about like a job title.
I can barely hear you.
Okay, all right.
I got you loud.
Here we go. Name something that people associate with the city of Chicago.
The Bears.
The Bears. What is a band name? What is a band name that starts with the letter R?
Oh, man. A band name?
Yeah, who's a famous band that name starts
R&B.
with R?
I love that band.
A band. There's a great one from the Twin Cities in the 80s. They were great. Come on. A band.
There's some good ones from England.
Letter R.
Kristen.
Maybe Athens, Georgia.
Riston.
That's what I like about you.
I can't think of one right now.
No, can't think of one. All right, R&B. Hey, you never know.
Speedwagon.
There you go. There you go. All right, besides gift cards, what's an easy gift to buy for an adult?
I would say donation to a food shelf.
Okay. And then name something Santa will do on December 26th.
Rest.
There you go. All right, rest. All right, well, let's see. Let's see how you did. We got your answers. Ryder, who we got?
All right, we chatted with Lori at Station 280 earlier this week. She's a big fan of the show. She does accounting, favorite band, Duran Duran, favorite team, Vikings. I don't know if we're going to match up, you know, being that
it's tough.
Julie's a Packers fan. But here we go.
If you're participating in Secret Santa at work, who is somebody you hope you don't have to buy a gift for?
Everyone.
Name something most people associate with Chicago.
Crime.
What's a band name that starts with the letter R?
I got nothing. REM.
Besides gift card, what's an easy gift to buy for a grown-up?
Beer.
Name something Santa will do on December 26th.
Sleep.
There you go.
All right, 1 for 5. Close, pretty close, Julie, but not quite close enough. Thanks for calling in and thanks for playing.
Skull Bites.
Well, I hope that bitch Kristen isn't listening. Hey, it's time to look back. It's December 19th. On this day in 1990, Bo Jackson of the Los Angeles Raiders was selected to play in the Pro Bowl that year. This is just a few months after he played in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. He's the first and only athlete to be chosen for All-Star games in 2 sports. I think we all took Bo Jackson for granted. I mean, we were all blown away at the time, sure. But in hindsight, I think we as a nation, we as a people, we just took him way too much in stride.
Well, I think his lengthy career and his many championships really put that to rest.
The man hit a home run and scored a touchdown in the same stadium in the same month.
I did that when I was in 6th grade.
I like to say, as a musician, I played drums and cymbals. He played baseball and football and was an all-star in both. Oh, my God, Bo, we hardly knew ye. On this day in 1999, the Cleveland Browns were back. And the Cleveland Browns still sucked. And it got worse because on December 19th, the one great player they had, tackle Orlando Brown, giant offensive lineman, was hit with a penalty flag in his eye. Remember that? Referee Jeff Triplett threw the flag, and it went straight through the face mask right into Orlando Brown's eye.
Beautiful.
It blinded him pretty much for a little while. It ended his career for several years.
Yeah.
It messed his eye up bad. Orlando Brown responded by shoving the ref to the ground, which in hindsight was a completely appropriate response. The NFL fined him and freaked out, of course. And then they were like, oh, wait, he's blinded? Ooh, that's probably not good.
That's what you get for playing for the Browns.
That's exactly what you get. He had signed a 27-year deal. He only got the $7.5 million signing bonus that came with it, however. He sued the league for $200 million, settled for $20 million, and then shortly thereafter, his eye actually recovered, and then he went back to play for the Baltimore Ravens. And what did the NFL say? They didn't say, oh, this is great. No, they sued him and said, when we settled, you weren't allowed to play anymore. And then public backlash. Finally, the NFL was like, maybe we should be the good guys once. And then they dropped the suit.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
If you're just getting up, it's snowing. People are driving like crazy. Be careful. Take a little extra time. Slow down. Golly, man. I still can't get over the fact that I moved here 2 years ago, and I just fully assumed everybody would drive like a champ in the snow.
Yeah, no, it's every year they have to relearn. But here's the thing. So you've got your all-wheel drive. You've got your four-wheel drive. You spent the money on the good snow tires.
Yeah.
You're prepared.
Yeah.
But that idjit in front of you.
Yeah.
There's a word I'm bringing back. Idjit in front of you.
Yeah.
Has the bad bald tires, you know.
Yeah,
the
sure.
Rear-wheel drive. They're just spinning around. You're only as good out on the roads as the idjit in front of you and behind you, which means you're basically screwed.
Pretty much the case. I was, it was not day one, but I believe day two, might have been day three at the latest. On my way to KQ, January of 2023, and I just watched a guy spinning right in Dinkytown. I'm like, how are you even going fast enough to spin around like that and go off the road? And I just thought to myself, man, this is just not what I was expecting. I really thought it was going to be the greatest snow driving experience of my life.
It's like we're all out there drifting like in those race cars, the Outlaws or whatever out there. No. Not at all. We just we have to figure it out all over again. Good luck out there, man.
I was like, you guys could have all just grown up like me in Kentucky and had no clue how to do this. Jeez, look what you got for all those years of cold.
I do like. I mean, you feel like you figured it out a little bit. You can get from, especially after your first trip out. You're like, I got this. I can go just about the speed limit. But then there's that sweet old lady in front of you going 1 mile an hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 1 mile an hour.
I've had the conversation with both kids this week. We're all together for the holidays, and I'm like reminding them, yes, your car is automatic, but you can shift it into the gear thing and how to downshift and not pound They're like, I got it. I'm like, listen to me. This is important. I am almost 60. I know the meaning of life, and it's how to use your manual gears, damn it.
That's right.
God, if we've learned anything today, it's that you'll figure it all out at 60.
And they just hear the Peanuts teacher. Wah, 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 wah.
That's exactly what they hear. Like an unshaven, long-haired Peanuts teacher. Go figure. Hey, speaking of figuring out the meaning of life at 60, a gentleman in Virginia sadly came up 2 years short. He passed away last week at the age of 58. And now this is a story. I got questions about bear hunting. I am the first guy to admit I don't pretend to know anything about hunting, and especially bear hunting. But this story just leapt off the page, as they say. A dude named Lester Harvey is out bear hunting with friends. They followed a bear. They were on foot tracking a bear. The bear made the fateful decision to go up a tree. Okay. And so as the group of men retreated from the tree, they're all standing at the base of it. They start to step away. One of the guys shoots the bear who's up in the tree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop right there. Is that normal? Is that a part of bear hunting? I'd love to hear. Anybody wants to chime in, 651-989-ROCK on the KQ Talk and/or text line. Feel free. Is that a normal protocol? Tree the bear so that you can shoot it?
I don't haven't done any bear hunting in my life, and so I don't really know. But I know a lot of people that do hunt bear. And I texted someone after I saw this story. They're like, "Oh yeah, you can legally shoot a bear in a tree, I guess."
Okay,
the best I know. But please enlighten me, someone here in Minnesota that hunts bears, and let us know what the protocol is there. I think you can, but yeah, just be careful.
Well, it seems, you better be careful. And to go back to the story now, as I mentioned, as the gentleman shot the bear, his buddies in the hunting party were backing away from the tree. One of them, the aforementioned 58-year-old Lester Harvey, didn't back up soon enough. The bear fell out of the tree and landed on him and killed him.
What in the hell, man? They're shooting was he standing? Yeah, shoot the bear. I'm standing right down here. Did he not know the other guy was going to shoot the bear? I don't know what was going on there, man. That's bad luck or just dumb hunting.
This is one of the few times when I say I really hope they were drinking, and I'm not trying to be funny. I hope,
right?
I hope that guy had just a belly full of bourbon, because dying under a bear your friend just shot just sounds awful to me. You got to be kidding me!
Really
gravity's a bitch, man. If you're going to shoot that bear, you got to clear out. This is fascinating to me, truly. Someone just texted in, people use dogs to tree them. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how that goes. Right. You, I guess you kind of, you put the bear in the tree, and then it's an easy kill, I suppose.
Yeah, and you can assess, kind of the bear. How big is the bear? What sex of the bear? Is that the bear you want to shoot? I guess you've got it in the corner, as they say. But I'm remembering it pales in comparison. But my cousin Shane shot a pheasant out of the air, and it came down and hit my brother in the back once.
a little different, but I get it.
A little different, yeah.
A little different. I got hit with a golf ball on the fly once. See, you can get hurt doing any number of things. You can just be cutting across a par 5, running home from the pool, and golf ball hits you right in the back. You don't know.
I had one bounce off my truck hood one time. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I took a golf ball to the brim of my cap, knocked the hat right off my head.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a shot from my cousin who did not say 4 or anything. He just watched it all the way in and didn't realize his cousin was standing right there near the green. Just about killed me.
It would have been more impressive if you had hit the ball.
Well, of course.
And knocked your own hat off.
I've come close.
Really got
I
under
promise
that
you.
one.
I'm now reading. There's a list of crazy bear hunting injuries where bears, a similar thing. Bears fall out of trees, hit people. In California, the same thing. The bear fell out of the tree but was not killed. It fell out of the tree and attacked the man it landed on. It still had enough. It was still pissed off enough.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's tough, man. In Alaska, a gentleman shot a bear. His hunting partner was down slope, and the bear rolled down the slope, mortally wounded, and rolled into this guy, one of the hunting party. He got hit by it's like a 1,000-pound bowling ball coming down the hill.
What was the hunter taking a crap? Can you move to the left or the right? It's a tumbling bear, Maybe he just guessed the wrong way. He zigged when he should have zagged. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't hunt. I can't imagine I'm going to ever hunt bear, but I haven't. I mean, but no one's invited me. No one's asked. I mean, who knows? Maybe this whole leads to me going, hey, you know what I've discovered? I love hunting bears. We'll see.
Baiting is legal in Minnesota. A lot of people will go to bakery stores and get the used donuts, and then they'll take them out and dump them out there. And that's usually where I fail, because when I get the bag of used donuts, I go, I'm not going bear hunting. I'm going home to eat these goddamn donuts.
Of course you are.
They're delicious. They're baiting me, I think.
Yeah.
Here's another fateful decision made. Another story. Not quite the same thing. An Australian man is no longer with us. So on beaches in Australia, the Gold Coast of Australia, they're very water savvy. They love to surf, they love to swim, but they got a problem out there called great white sharks. They're everywhere. So the public beaches have shark nets, very, very, very high tech, very expensive netting that keeps the shark can't get to where they allow people to swim. And if you are if you want to go take a dip in the water, you are safe from the great white sharks. They can't get to certain sections of the beach. They are netted off. A 29-year-old was at a Gold Coast beach this week, and he swam to the barrier, the netting, and there's a big cover. He got on top of it, and he looked back to his friends, and they were like, dude, what are you doing? He decided, I'm going to get on the other side. I'm going to jump over the shark net. and I'm gonna see what happens when I hit there. One of the things with these shark nets, these are giant barriers that are installed. It does create a bit of an undercurrent and an undertow just outside the nets, naturally speaking. The gentleman stood on top of the net, looked back to his friends, and after he made his jump, and after he was taken by the currents, and after he did, drown, his friends were interviewed as witnesses, and they all had the same story. Well, he stood there and he looked back at us, and, well, he said, "Hold my beer," as he jumped over the edge.
Hey, hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer, would you?
You hold the beer, that'll be your handicap.
Here, Bart, you can hold my beer.
Can you hold my beer for a second?
Here, hold him beer.
Yeah, 29, that makes sense. That's a 29-year-old's maneuver right there. Hold my beer, mate. And then he jumped in and was never seen again. This is tough. When I'm swimming in the southern hemisphere and I come across something called a great white net, I decide to stay on the side of it.
Yeah.
That's me. I mean, not that that's happened. I've never gone near the ocean. I've been to Australia twice, and I saw people swimming, and all I thought was, you people are all crazy.
They are crazy.
They got box jellyfish. They got great white sharks. They got all kinds of everything out there will kill you. But no, hold my beer, and then that's all there is to it.
Great hold my beer moments. I've had a few in my life. I don't know. The one I remember the most is hold my beer and then climbed onto the hood of the pickup we were driving down a gravel road while it was driving down the gravel road to do some surfing. And that's how I lost the skin on the entire left side of my body. Pretty much. And my favorite T-shirt was a Beer Nuts T-shirt. You can't find those anymore.
Man.
Yeah, just gone.
I mean, that's a sting followed by just a sting. I mean, that's insult to injury right there. That's tough.
A lot of Neosporin, a lot of it.
So there's a couple guys that didn't figure out the meaning of life at 60, but how about a woman who figured it out 46 years ago? Florence Hackman, Loveland, Ohio, just turned 106 years old. And she is crediting that longevity to a positive attitude and one daily shot of Fireball whiskey. In fact, she is known as Fireball Flo. Now, her name is Florence Hackman. When I read this, I, of course, pictured Florence Henderson, the mom from the Brady, Carol Brady.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I thought she died, didn't she? And then, of course, I realized, oh, yes, of course, that's not Florence Hackman, that's Florence Henderson. And then I Googled her, and not only has she died a decade or so ago, but she died on the same day as Fidel Castro. And I always thought that was not a coincidence. But Florence Hackman, Fireball Flo, plays bingo, crafts, loves live music, cheers on those Cincinnati Bengals. Boy, that'll keep you going a long time, waiting to see that team turn it around. She tries to be nice to people. She takes it one day at a time. But yes, always a shot of Fireball late afternoon. I mean, Fireball cinnamon whiskey. I mean, seriously, just give the woman a lifetime supply. I mean, she's not paying for this still.
Are you listening, Fireball? Yeah. Hook her up here. This is not Fireball Flo. This is earlier this year, a 101-year-old secret to long life.
What's my secret to a long life? To drink all the booze you can drink.
Come on.
I think she's a couple in.
Drink all the booze you can drink.
Yeah.
Well, they say the drunk driver's the guy who doesn't get hurt in the crash. And if you're speaking figuratively, if your life is one long continuous car crash, the drinking will help. I'm just saying. Hey, that's a pretty good little moment right there. It reminds me, we've got some of the best caught on tape moments of the year. Let's look back a little bit. The best audio that we've shared with you over the year. Let's just scratch the surface, shall we? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
You don't get pudding, Brian. You've been a bad lad.
I'd rather have the meat, to be honest with you. I don't like that weird pudding over there in England.
I know you want your pudding. You got David Gilmour just oozing. That guitar solo is just so mellow and smooth and perfect and everything, and then you just chase it down with a guy screaming about pudding. and you know what? Honestly, the lesson, as always, it always makes sense as long as Pink Floyd does it. The weirdest crap ever. It's Pink Floyd. It's all right.
Pink Floyd does it, and you do drugs. Then
That's
it all
right.
comes together, yeah.
It's funny because a lot of bands have make the mistake of thinking that if they want to have that same impact on their fans, they should also do drugs while making records. and almost always it's like, no, not really. No. You
So
can do a
much.
little. You can cop a buzz, but you don't want to put yourself in you don't want to be as wasted as your fans will be listening to the record.
Yeah.
That's and maybe that's something I learned the hard way. Just saying, you never know.
George Carlin once said in an interview, they asked him about drugs and doing that and what it contributed to his comedy over the years. And he goes, it works for you until it doesn't.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And
there's a moment there when it starts working against you real quick, I imagine.
And it is the shining stars among us who recognize that moment as it happens, few and far between, let me tell you. Usually you end up in a room with bad coffee talking about it.
Yeah.
A room and it's a room you just can't find. You're like, well, what do you mean it's in a church? I didn't know the church had a basement.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No, I don't want a cigarette. Okay, just 6. Those meetings are great.
Yeah.
So the year 2024, which is now rapidly approaching its demise as 25 is looming right around the corner. A lot of great stuff. We've had a lot of fun on the show this year, and oftentimes just with just the most bizarre audio drops, stories that just really we had a lot of fun with, and we know we got a big response from. And there's no way we could lay them all out for you. It would just be it would be weeks of radio just to recap the year. But a couple that just jumped off to us and talking about it. In case you missed this, probably my favorite one is the guys sitting around a bonfire in Michigan. 3 guys hanging out, and a raccoon is nearby, observing, checking it out, and then one of the guys. They notice this raccoon is like just circling them, and they're paying attention. They're thinking it might be about to attack. And then one of the guys says, see if he wants a little piece of cheese. Just throws a little piece. They're having a little snack, a little drink by the fire. Throws a little piece of cheese over, and then the raccoon does enjoy the cheese, but then begins to choke on the cheese. And what happens next is, video and audio of a gentleman giving a raccoon a little Heimlich maneuver.
He is choking, though. A little bit lower, Bill. Upward motion. There you go. There it is. He's alive, dude. That's hilarious.
Just the patting on the back. It sounds like he's hitting it's like a bongo drum with a little tea towel over top of it. You get a good tone. Sounds like a drum fill from Abbey Road. But he's just pounding that thing. Yeah. And I love the calm demeanor. A little higher, a little lower, Bill. There it is. And then you can hear the moment the cheese blasts out of that poor bastard's esophagus.
I hate that the FCC will not allow us to play the continuation of that. The cheese chunk comes blasting out of the raccoon, and then it tears the man's left testicle right off. Runs into the woods with his nut, never to be seen again.
Yeah, you don't want anything to do with that, man. That's tough. I have just enough experience with raccoons to know that when I see one, I just keep moving. I don't get anywhere near those things because, they don't appreciate being cornered whether you corner them or not, they tend to feel cornered.
Yeah, it's a rat. It's just a rat. That's all it is. Just a big old diseased rat.
And unlike our friends, the opossum, they don't take care of a lot of ticks and mosquitoes and even snakes. The opossum is a great cleaner, if you will. Yeah. You want those guys around. Raccoons, they just want to get into your attic and then ruin your house. That's pretty much what they want to do. That's what they're here for.
Garbage cans, yeah.
But the idea that we love nights around the fire pit. My wife and I and the kids now are old enough where they'll sit there with us, and we have a cocktail, we got a fire going, and it's cold, and we could just walk inside. But why would we do that? We have a fire, and then we usually end up listening to like Neil Young, and that's when the kids leave. But this is a great long-time tradition, and I've seen animals off in the distance. But if a raccoon walked right up to the fire pit with me, I'm just out of there, man. I'm just moving on. I'm not throwing cheese at it until now. Now I will probably say, hang on, anybody got any cheese? Let's see if we can choke this guy to death.
Yeah, I'm gonna record him choking to death.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna give him the Heimlich. That only worked once.
Yeah, it's been done.
I think the best story of the day, maybe if not the best, another great story from Michigan, no less. It was in the spring. A dude was There was a hearing for a gentleman who had been driving with a suspended license. He was told to report to court to appear in front of a judge. Again, the charge is driving on a suspended license. Now, when you drive on a suspended license and get caught, you are not allowed to drive anymore. He was late for his Zoom call to the judge, and so he phoned in when he finally could. When he finally did connect to the judge on his Zoom, well, this is what it sounded like.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. I'm parking right now.
This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving, and he didn't have a license.
That is what the charge is, Your Honor, yes.
He's suspended, and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
Oh, son of a...
The best is, oh, my God.
Yeah, like it was a stroke of bad luck. No, no, you did it to yourself.
I mean, if you've been struck by lightning, do you run around in the next storm waving a golf club over your head?
No,
you don't. You don't do that.
No.
It's like when my brother Tom was like 5. Famously, he reached his hand up near the hot stove, and my mom slapped his hand away. And then with tears in his eyes, he just started to reach it up again. And she slapped it away. And then he just said, I can't not. And he just kept putting his hand. He just had to put his hand on the hot stove. And my mom finally had to just let him do it. And then he burned his hand. And then he cried. And then he never did it again.
That's how you learn right there. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. You don't piss into the wind.
That's right.
How the rest went. Something about Jim.
Yeah, you got to stay out of Jim's way.
Buy Jim a beer,
Yeah. Don't pull on Superman's cape might have been a part of that one.
And then we thought it was all a misunderstanding. He said, I did have my license. He came back. And then there was that third beat to it that, no, the man never had a license in his life.
Yeah.
Never ran into, what did we find out down in Chaska? Someone ran into the DMV building taking their driving test. Yeah,
on the driver's test.
Did that. No.
I can't tell you how much it warms my heart to know someone out there called in a Zoom call to a judge to explain why he was late for his suspended license hearing while driving a car. And I love the way he starts. I'm just parking right now, sir. I'm at the doctor. Hang on. Let me pull over. Pull over for this because I'm a responsible driver. and then of course all of it. I think at the top of the list for me is just when this story first broke. And there's a video too, and the look on the guy's face as he goes, oh my God. It's like he's just recognized. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy. It's like some king realized, oh my God, I just killed 5,000 peasants. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, that's my bad.
I'm always the last to know. Oh, curse this wicked web we weave. It's fantastic.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Thursday, December the 19th, and the Vikings got a big one this weekend. They're all big this time of year. Sam Ekstrom has been covering the team since 2014. He's a host and executive producer with the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast Network, providing daily Vikings analysis on YouTube and your preferred podcast feed. Sam, good morning, sir. Let's look back before we look ahead. The win over Chicago, as expected, Monday night. But if I had to ask you for one red flag, one nagging thing from the Vikings' performance that gives you pause, what would it be?
Probably finishing drives. Finishing drives early in that game, I thought, kept the Bears alive. And then the Bears, who themselves struggled to finish drives. I thought there was a moment, though, where Chicago could have gotten right back in that thing if you left the door open. They've been a little bit plucky at coming back in games. Vikings didn't really put them away the way you'd like to see early. They did eventually get to that and make that kind of non-stressful late. But you'd like to see a little more killer instinct from that offense. But otherwise, I'm not going to overly complain too much about an 18-point win. The second thing, Steve, penalties. Too many penalties, 10 of them. That's not going to fly either.
No, that's a good point. So with that offense not finishing those drives as we look ahead towards a pretty tough final 3-game stretch, do you put that on, is it Sam Darnold and is it the play? Is it the play and then Sam? Is it the scheme? I mean, assign the blame for why we're not finishing these drives. How much of that rests on Sam's shoulders? How much of it goes elsewhere?
Yeah, usually it's an amalgam of things, to use a $10 word there, amalgam. I think a little bit of inaccuracy from Sam Darnold. He was a little bit wild. He was missing high to a number of receivers. Number 2, as I mentioned, the penalties, setting you back to 1st and 15, 1st and 20, 2nd and 20. That's going to make it pretty tough to convert. And I thought there was a period of time where they couldn't run the ball on 1st down. So they're trying to get to 2nd and 6. Well, they lose yards. Instead, they go back to 2nd and 12. I thought that all played into it. I thought that they sorted through it and got a little better in the second half. But a combination of errors. You'd like to see them playing their sharpest football offensively, and I think we saw that the week prior against Atlanta. Did not see it against Chicago.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Okay, let's talk about Sam Darnold. 9 games in a row with over 200 yards. 53 completions of 20-plus yards. His passer rating is 4th, and here I am now. It only took 2 years to turn into a real Vikings fan. I'm still trying to squeeze myself into the suit that says he's a great quarterback. Nationally, people are giving him nothing but love, and here in town, we're still wondering where. And I know it's a week-to-week prognosis. Where are you with Sam right now? Is he an MVP candidate? The numbers say he should be.
Yeah, if he wins out, you have a tough time not at least lumping him in for the MVP. Now, Josh Allen is going to put up similar, if not better, passing numbers, and he's going to have all the rushing numbers. He's going to have 1 million rushing touchdowns, So I think that Josh Allen is still deservedly the favorite there. But if Sam Darnold wins out, goes 15-2, throws for 35 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, those are typically numbers that are associated with the MVP of the National Football League. It is a competitive year in that regard. And even if he's 2nd or 3rd in the voting, guys, that is still a ridiculously crazy accomplishment. To answer your initial question of what's he playing right now, I mean, I think that you love where he's at, and you do worry, like, is that other part of him still in there somewhere? It's kind of the inverse of Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins said yesterday when they benched him, I didn't forget how to play quarterback. And I believe that. I believe that the good Kirk is still in there. Well, is the bad Kirk still in Sam, or is the bad Sam still in Sam Darnold? That's the question. And will it get exposed against some better teams?
I think both those quarterbacks you mentioned benefited from this offensive scheme and Coach O'Connell. I think Coach O'Connell got the best out of Kirk Cousins. I really do. And I believe that he's getting the best out of Sam Darnold. But if we look at these Seattle Seahawks, they went on a little bit of a run and became somewhat darlings, but they weren't beating great teams. The Cardinals aren't a great team. They went up against the Packers and got their asses handed to them. I understand there's a lot of injuries. Where's Geno Smith at as far as starting and their injuries that the Vikings are going to be facing? Because I like this matchup except for maybe the weather.
Yeah, it could be a little moist out there. Famously, Sam Darnold did his pro day before the draft in a driving rain, so maybe he's really good in the rain.
All right.
The injury situation for Seattle, both their running backs are banged up. They didn't practice yesterday, so that's something to watch for. Geno Smith did participate, and I think he's going to be good to go. They're going to brace him up, do whatever they have to do to get that knee right. I think maybe this is one of those injuries where if it's early in the season, you hold him out for a game or two. But at this juncture, Seahawks tied for the division lead.
Yeah.
They've got to play with a lot of desperation. They can't afford to put Sam Howell in for a game or two because they don't have a game. They probably have to run the table themselves. So I think that Geno's going to gut it out. And this is one of those games where you say, let's just pressure the heck out of this guy. Let's make him uncomfortable. Let's make him move and just see what that knee really is like.
Yeah, I agree. What about on the Vikings side of the ball? Brian O'Neill came out of the game, came back into the game, came back out of the game. That tackle position, very important. Sam Darnold needs his time.
Yeah, O'Neill's going to be okay. They dodged the bullet with all the tests. I think you hold your breath, when your O-lineman goes down in so much pain with a hit to the lower body. You think about Christian Darrisaw and what it meant losing him, and they really couldn't afford to lose another one. Well, he got tested the day of the game, got tested the day after the game, and he's cleared. So he did participate, I believe, limited yesterday, but a good sign that he's going to play on Sunday, and that's enormous. They should get Stephon Gilmore back at corner. He was a full participant yesterday. So it's really looking good injury-wise for the Vikings right now. I think I saw a chart that they've got one of the fewest number of IR players in the league right now, which in Week 16 is saying something because a lot of teams are damaged with injuries. The Lions, of course, are famously injured. Vikings are pretty healthy right now.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Let's give a little love to the Minnesota's front seven. Boy, are they getting, to your point about we got to get to Geno Smith and pressure him. That's what we have been doing, as well as, if not better than any other team in the league. The numbers back that up. Are you feeling good about where the defense is after a few weeks in the middle of the season where it seemed like everybody kind of had our number?
Yeah, I really am. And again, they've made bad teams look worse than usual. Sometimes when they've gone up against better offenses, the results have been a little more mixed. So this is a Seattle team that really knows how to throw the ball. And if you want to nitpick, the Vikings sometimes can allow yardage through the air. So it might be more about the secondary in this game than the front seven. But, however, Geno Smith is like 35th in passer rating when he's pressured. He's thrown the most interceptions of any quarterback in the NFL under pressure. So this is a game where maybe you can just, if you get the pressure up front, that takes a little pressure off of your secondary. Send the extra blitzers. Get Dallas Turner involved. Dallas Turner had some really nice reps in that Bears game, your first-round pick. You got Pat Jones healthy again. So you're loaded up now at edge rusher. See what you can do against Geno Smith. And an offensive line, guys, for Seattle that does not really block very well. There's a chance to get mega pressure here on Geno Smith.
Yeah, it sounds like a great recipe for Geno to have a very long day. One last thing, as just a general comment, and I welcome your thoughts. There are 7 teams in the league right now with 10 wins or more, and 3 of them are in the NFC North. This is a season that real football insiders will talk about for years because, I don't remember the last time we had a division so unexpectedly so dominant. And, of course, we have the Packers and the Lions still to go. I mean, when you think back to where you were with week 1, looking at the division to week now 16 or 15 or 16, do you remember a season that was more of a whiplash of, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me, because I don't think anybody predicted any of this.
Yeah, I think that there were questions about every team, right? You assumed Detroit would be good, and then you said, all right, well, is Jordan Love the real deal for Green Bay? Can they kind of back up what they did last year? Is he going to take a step? Yep, he did. He took a step. People assumed the Bears would be better and the Vikings would be worse, and then they kind of flip-flopped, right? The Bears flopped under the heat of expectations after a pretty good start, and then here the Vikings are at 12-2. And I believe, guys, despite the Bears ailing, I think this is going to go down as the best winning percentage of any division since they went to this division format. I think it's going to be a historically good division. You could have a team with 15 wins, a team with 14 wins, a team with 12 wins, all in the same division. It's absurdly good. And I think when Detroit lost to Buffalo on Sunday, it was the first time that any of those top 3 teams had lost to somebody other than other in like 2 months. Just a crazy run for the NFC North. And it's pretty cool, honestly, that all paths kind of run through the NFC North right now. Like, it's a really cool place to be in for the upper Midwest sports fan.
No, it's fantastic. Last thing, Sam, any truth to the rumors that the Chicago Bears are going to ask you to come down and coach them next year?
We're going to keep that internal. We're not going to shed any light on the rumors. I don't want to, put that out there, but conversations may have happened.
All right.
Caleb's a talented quarterback, so that's a nice fit. That's a nice place to be, and I might be calling on Brian Flores to be my defensive coordinator.
Okay, easy. Let's not raid the larder just yet. I appreciate the Bears throwing out such a wide net, though. So I wish you the best in all of your future endeavors, of course. But for right now, it's money time, baby. Vikings at Seattle. Give us your pick.
A lot of stupid stuff has happened in Seattle for the Vikings over the years, so they got to exercise some demons in this building. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think if it's raining, it could get sloppy. I'm going to go with a 24-22 Vikings win with a last-second field goal from Will Reichert in the rain. How about that?
I love that. I'm writing that one down. 24-22 in the rain, field goal to win it. I'm digging it. Sam, it's always a pleasure, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
All right. Man, I tell you what, it's despite my better impulses, I watch the Vikings every week, and as I watch, I'm like, yeah. and then by Monday or Tuesday, I'm like, I think they're going to win the whole damn thing. And then I talk to Sam, and then I get ready for Sunday, where I'm just like, I mean, literally, it only took 2 years, and I'm just like everybody I've ever met from Minnesota.
You are absolutely acclimated to the Vikings experience right now. I mean, beware a team that's still playing for playoff money at home, and bad weather makes worse teams better against better teams. But yeah, I like the Vikes all the way in this one. It'll get interesting in the next 2 weeks, but yeah, the Vikes should get the job done in Seattle. Not a very good team.
That's a great point. We always imagine as fans that they're in the locker room and they're huddling around teamwork and the pride of Seattle, and we got to do this. Their agents are texting them, remember the playoff bonus. I mean, they're just like, it's not exactly what we're thinking behind the scenes is keeping people on board. All right, there's Sam Ekstrom. Always a pleasure to chat with him. I'm, of course, looking forward to stuffing my face with football all weekend long. It's time for your top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Good Thursday morning. It is December the 19th. If you have a plan to get out of town today, by air that is, and you happen to be thinking about going to the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport to catch a flight, heads up. There's been a bit of a ground delay. Departures from MSP in all directions are being delayed an average of 62 minutes, which means your flight will be delayed by like 6 hours. Runway crews are dealing with the accumulating snow and ice. I love when they say an average of 62 minutes because some flights aren't delayed and then some are just backed up to the nines. Hopefully you get lucky if you are now, but definitely check the apps, whatever airline you're with, check the airport. It's going to be a mess just getting to the airport. Once you're there, be prepared to be there a little longer than usual. None of this is a surprise, but it's the first time we've had something like this happen this season, so it's important to note the word ground stop always gets my attention.
Some of the finest bars in any airport in the world you'll find right there. Good old MSP International. Yep. Belly up, make yourself at home. What's that one at the end? God, I can never remember. And I go, rock bottom? No, it's not. That's not it. Damn it.
You know how to find it. That's all that matters.
Steak sandwich and a Bloody Mary that'll knock your nylons off.
The worst airport bar I ever got stuck at was still pretty good.
Yeah. As long as the beer is cold. Yeah.
Man, you're not kidding.
Flights into Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport on hold until 10 a.m. now this morning.
Oh, boy.
And flights out very sparingly are now operating. But, yeah, you'll be there for the day. And
longest single-day flight delay of my life. One of the guys traveling with our group, we got to the airport. It was like 11 a.m. for a 2 o'clock flight, and it was already saying it was going to be delayed. And he was like, well, I'm just going to get drunk, and then I'll just drink till they board, and then I'll be able to pass out as soon as we get on the plane. They kept delaying the plane. I watched a man drink himself asleep at a hotel bar and then sit there and sleep for 4 full hours and then wake up. And in his mind, his first thought was, I'm already on the plane, right? And no, we're still at the hotel bar. And he looked at us, and he was so bewildered. And we were like, dude, you have been out for 4 hours with your head on that table. He was not in a good mood. And it was another few before we even thought about getting on that plane. So there's a reason those bars are there. Take full advantage if you need to.
Oh, Nate, thank you for the text, by the way. Stone Arch Bridge, yeah. And I'm remembering that Nate and I were in the Stone Arch Bridge, and a similar story as yours, except the guy said something, I got to catch my flight, and the bartender came over, slapped her hand right in front of him on the bar very loudly and said, you arrived already. You already flew in. You told the story about how you got here from Atlanta, and you wanted a drink. You've been here for an hour. You've landed. And he goes,
my God.
He goes, I got to catch a flight. She said, you're not catching a flight. Let's see if we can't get you to your hotel. And that's right. Thank you, Nate. That's a wonderful memory.
Oh, Oh, that is the best thing I've ever heard. I'm trying to think if I've ever gotten off a plane and rushed to the hotel bar, to the airport bar. In between like connecting flights, sure, but no, you're at your final destination and you can't get out of the airport. But oh wow, that's awesome. Thank you for that. I wasn't there, but I will always remember that. All right, let's get to your top 5 at 9. Here's 5 stories that matter, especially number 5. Slim Dunlap died yesterday at the age of 73. Slim Dunlap, a guitarist for The Replacements and many other great bands in the Twin Cities, a fixture on the scene since the 1970s. His name was Bob Dunlap, and then he joined The Replacements, replacing Bob Stinson, and they were like, well, we can't have another Bob.
Nope.
How about
only one Bob?
Slim? And all of a sudden, a man in his late 30s had a new nickname, Slim. At least that's the story as I heard it. They couldn't have another Bob.
No, I think it was Paul Westerberg right on stage, I think, made the snap decision. That's how the stories go. You know how these urban myths live on, especially with the Mats. But I know Slim had been sick and suffering for a long time, and I'm glad that's passed for him. Lived one hell of a life and one hell of a contribution to the Minneapolis music scene. And rock in peace, Slim.
Yeah, I can't speak from personal experience, but I am just noticing a lot of musicians that I know from this area, and really, truly from around the world, their social media posts all expressing great reverence, great love, and respect for Slim Dunlap. Rest easy, buddy. Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. The holidays are upon us. The Christmas coming up Wednesday. Let's talk about Boxing Day, December 26th, the day after Christmas. Boxing Day in America, it should be called Boxing Day here because that's usually when the fisticuffs break out. We decide we've had enough of our family, not only on the 26th, but specifically at 2:13 p.m. A new study has pinpointed the average moment when we hit our breaking point with family, and 2:13 p.m. on the 26th is when we say enough is enough. And what are the reasons we battle with family over the holidays? This is great. Here's a list of 10 things they say, the top 10 things. Let me know if you haven't had these conversations. Criticism for the fact that you're still single or your relationship choice. Criticism for how you're simply handling being an adult. Stress over cooking meals. Bad presents, arguments over board games, arguments over politics, everyone's hungover, getting yelled at for not helping around the house enough, having to babysit someone else's kids, and finally, arguments over what to watch on TV.
Some bullseyes in there,
if I could hit 10 for 10 on my gambling apps, a 10 leg parlay is retirement money. My God. I would give anything to go 10 for 10 on something other than the reasons I fight with family over the holidays.
I tell you, things have mellowed out a little bit. There's a new generation of Zeps coming along that I'm sure are going to really kick up the dust. But there was a point there when I would, when you start making the calls to go home, who's going to go where, who's going to get picked up, what time you're coming in, what day you're going to be there. And there would be so many fights before Christmas. I often, just without any heads up, ducked out and went skiing. I'm like, nah,
that's great.
We're fighting so much before we get home. Mom's thrown in the towel. Dad's not talking to anyone. I'm like, but things have mellowed out. And by the way, when we do get together, we did pretty well. But by God, leading up to Christmas, it was our Boxing Day.
Yeah, we're kind of over it now, but for decades around the Gorman Christmas trees, it's like well into the late 90s, I used to say, nothing like stepping into my brother's house and immediately it's 1974 again. All of these adults who've gone on to their own lives, all doing well, got great, successful careers and lots of good friends and wonderful families of their own. And bingo, bango, it's 1974, and here comes that family dysfunction. Man, that stuff is tough to shake. Helps that everybody just gets too old to care anymore. I think that's really what it comes down to. You just wind yourself down eventually.
Yeah.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. Speaking of winding yourself down eventually, the Chaska License Center, a place where you can go get a road test if you want to get a driver's license. And yesterday, a driver wound themselves right down by crashing their car while taking the driving road test. They didn't just crash the car. They hit a parked car in the parking lot at the license center, and then they hit a second parked car at the license center, and then just to go ahead and put a cherry on top, ran their car directly into the building itself.
Oh.
Yes!
Yes!
Legendary.
The driver, they say, mistook the gas pedal for the brake, and then apparently made that mistake and then decided, I'm just going to double and then triple down on this mistake.
I mean, people have made that. I told the story earlier about in driver's ed that Tony Dunnick had done that and hit the accelerator instead of the brake and slammed our football coach / driver ed teacher's head into the dash. One of the great moments I'll never forget.
Incredible.
And then, or you do it like Taylor did it in the old garage, that classic almost stereotype, right? Where they hit the gas instead of the brake and whammo right into the garage door. And I'm like, I'm glad we had decided to do this at your mom's house.
Yeah.
But when you're taking your driving test, you might not have been ready yet, but you'll live on in infamy. You'll take that to your grave.
Oh, this is a story for multiple generations of your family. I mean, so much so. I mean, think about it. You're the 16-year-old who drove your car into the building where they hand out driver's licenses. There will be descendants telling that story, and the story has to start where they explain what a car was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll still be telling the story. So, and they'll be like, imagine if you took your Transport A64 and ran it right into the module pod. Oh, my God, no way. It's like all new words and verbiage, and you'll be explaining what cars were, but that story's still going to make sense. Awesome. So whoever that unnamed kid is out there, chin up. That's a good one. We're proud of you. Here's another one for you. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. An odd one out of Zimbabwe, and we don't talk a lot about the news out of Zimbabwe, but this one is important. There is a nationwide condom shortage, and so therefore Zimbabweans, sex workers, and others are being forced to improvise. Without condoms, there's a very limited supply, and now apparently there's a very limited supply also of newborn baby socks, because yes, people are using newborn baby socks. Both men and women using those in their attempts to prevent pregnancies.
Aren't they? Am I thinking of knit booties? I don't know what baby socks are. Are they just
tiny
they rubber?
They're
not?
No. Little fabric.
Yeah.
It's not rubber. They're just little They're just socks that look like socks and they fit a baby's foot.
Porous.
Yes.
They're porous.
Very porous.
All
very
right.
porous.
So the little wigglies can get out and the STDs can get in. All right. Listen, we put these things in 50-gallon drums out at the Olympic Village. They're making them right now. They make them every day. Condoms. I still got a box. It's about 20 or 30 years old. I'll send it over to Zimbabwe. Opened, I used a couple of them, just to make party balloons for a bachelor party. But
do you know how many middle school boys had a wallet with an imprint of a condom in it? For that was like you could see
right
the
here.
thing. Yeah, right
My
here.
Velcro wallet. Yeah.
Because the Velcro wallet, of course the condom was never used, but it was there just in case.
It was, and you'd show everybody when you go out on the playground. I got a condom. You got one? Yeah, and you'd pull it out and be like Trojan, lubed, nice. Yeah. It's a good one.
Let's see. We had mine was Prime, and I always used to say I like the fact that it said lubricated with SK70, whatever that was. SK70.
I do remember trying to use it in a car out there in some approach in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, dropping it on the floor after I got it out of the package, reaching down around there trying to find it, and there was gravel all over the carpet, and finally I couldn't find it, and it didn't matter anyway because it was all over before I got to the fun part.
Yeah. Well,
didn't need it. Yeah.
There's a silver lining in every young man's alacrity, if you will. Hey, morning shout out to our friends in Becker. Everybody out in Becker, we're thinking of you. And remember, use a condom. Becker's a great little community. Happy to have you guys listening. How about that?
Yeah, Becker. The alternate route to St. Cloud. And that Highway 10 goes through Becker, I think. All right. If you want to take the back door to St. Cloud.
It's funny. I just realized when you said that, you could wreak havoc on my life because I ask you guys where stuff is all the time, and I always assume you know. And thank God for Waze, because otherwise I'd be like, wait, I do this and that. You go like, oh yeah, it's right there, and then you could just ruin my days with poor directions.
Listen, man, I generally know where everything is around the metro and most of the state of Minnesota. However, I go straight to my Google Maps. If I got to go to the grocery store, if I'm going down to the Cub Foods I go to all the time, I feel like I've got to put it in Google Maps.
Oh, I do. I use it. I'm a mile and a half from KQ. I live a mile and a half away, and I have Waze set up every day. I certainly know how to get here, but I'm just thinking, well, with all the construction over the last year especially, it does tell you which roads are closed. And at 5:57, as I'm screaming in last minute, I need to know if I'm going to be delayed or not. Number one on your top 5 at 9. We pretty much figured it all out by the time we're 60. That's right. We spend a lot of our lives trying to figure out the meaning of life. A new study says people really start to get their answers. They really feel at the age of 60, they've got it all figured out. So 2025 is going to be a banger for me. I'm going to be, who knows? That means I might shave my head, sit in a tree, and learn to play the flute. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but something is going to happen next year when I turn 60. I'm going to have it all figured out, and I invite you all to join me on this phosphorus-colored journey through the inner workings of my psyche. Oh, what a joy this will be.
Yeah, right. You know what this means, right? For an entire year, he's going to be double the pain in the ass when it comes. Hey, listen, guys, who's 60 here? Who's achieved total enlightenment? All right, sit down, Ryder. Sit down, Zep. Let me show you how this works.
Listen, man, you think Aaron Rodgers is full of it. You wait till August 18th, 2025. I'm going to make you wish he was hanging out every day.
Oh, my God. You know what I love about this loser Aaron Rodgers now is that, have you seen the Netflix? Is it the Netflix documentary that's coming out?
I've seen some highlights, man.
That would be embarrassing if the Jets right now were 13-0. But with a losing season and this silly-ass thing coming out, dude, absolute I might actually watch it now.
Whew, there's your top 5 at 9.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.